everybody. Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to another horror franchise live. Clearly discussing the Saw franchise.
What?
Between, I wanted to actually do things like that for the other ones, but because I was literally in the middle of moving for both the other two, I just did not have the time. But I was like, you know what? I'm a little early tonight. Took me long. What are you doing? Oh, Tasha says hello, sort of. What have you been doing? Waiting in queue? Sorry.
No, that's fair.
We had a few. It's Radar's fault. But yeah, so
I thought this was a Hatchet live. Crap. Oops.
Yeah, been sitting here waiting for this forever. We aren't even that late. Oh, we are a few minutes. That's okay. We have things to discuss, Tasha. But yeah, so we're going to be talking all things Saw. We're going to go over some rankings, probably talk about our favorite traps, parts we love, parts we didn't love, and all the in between. Most of the faces tonight are not strangers to voices. Radar, DeBoard, Kat, and Lexi have all been here before, but Lexi has an extra special guest for this episode. Lexi, you want to introduce your second there?
Yes. Hi, Angel. Kaylee and I want to play a game tonight. Kaylee, yes, she's my 14-year-old daughter. So, full disclosure, we're probably going to cuss a lot, and I don't care. Say hi. Hello.
Hello. We're so glad that you're here. Yeah, we were talking about that beforehand, and I was like, well, I figure, if you're going to watch all of the movies with your kid, you're probably okay with the language and the other
stuff. No. 14, about to be 15 in a month, so she's
okay, getting up there.
Since I was 5. She's good to go.
There you go. Is there a lot of cussing in the Saw franchise? I can't even think up the top of my head.
There's some.
Probably not until we get to Spirals with Samuel L. Jackson.
Well,
that's true. Yeah, it's primarily gore and body horror and stuff, I think, and concepts as far as the rating goes. Tasha says, "Oh, hi, Mini Lexi." Yeah, so we'll kick these off like we normally do. We'll do rankings first and then kind of jump into chat. I'm going to go last since I'm the host. We send Steve and Steve's husband Love. His husband donated a kidney this week, and so he is out of commission, and Steve is helping take care of him. So we will miss him, but he's doing cool things by taking care of his husband, who did a super cool thing this week. So it'll be just us. So I guess ranking wise, Radar, you want to kick us off with your rankings for Saw?
I guess.
What? You said you wanted to be on this live. Don't come in here with no bullshit.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you were going right to the rankings though. And me first.
All that tells me is that you don't watch my episodes. Cool. Nice. Anyway, go ahead.
No. I did not prepare properly for this, but that's all right. I'll wing it. Well, I mean,
Radar's a professional.
I'm a professional, all right? Don't do this at home, kids. I mean, so there's 10 movies, and I guess 1 through 10, I guess starting at 10, like the bottom of the barrel, I'm sure everyone's on board with this Spiral because it's just so bad. It's a weird kind of bad too, where they just didn't try across the board, and they clearly gave Chris Rock way too much liberty to just do what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
and his voice is so annoying. It's because it's like it seems like he's always doing a bit in the movie,
which only works as the zebra in Madagascar.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like it's like someone's getting ripped apart and he's going like, "Oh my goodness, looks like you should have filed your taxes or something." And it's like, this is not the time. This is not the place. And it's just the whole thing. That's the whole movie. And I just hate it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 9, I would put Jigsaw just because it seems like really just kind of ham-fisted, kind of just loosely connected, kind of tacked on at the end.
Forced connected, yeah.
Yeah, kind of forced. And I think my favorite part of that, spoilers to everyone who hasn't seen Jigsaw yet, but is is how petty they made John Kramer in that one because he kidnaps and tries to kill an intern. An intern. That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I expect him to go after like the kid who mismade his bagels a couple times or something and Saw 11 or something. But it's bad. It's really bad. Saw 7 is probably what, an 8 spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're going, yeah.
It's wild, man.
You have moved from my favorite list over to my critical list.
Oh no. 7 is just there. I don't like Hoffman, which is like you gotta like if you
You're
enjoy
not supposed
7,
to
it's
like
probably-
Hoffman.
You're not supposed to, but I know there's people out there.
I
think
love
people
him
really-
because I hate him. It's a
I
complicated
was gonna say
relationship.
there's a big fan base that loves to hate Hoffman.
Yeah, I'm probably in
That's
that
fair.
group. Yeah.
Saw. God, this is a tough one. Saw 5 probably next, because I mean it's fine. It's there.
It's
You
fine.
know, it's good. It's aight. You know,
Yeah.
there's some inventive elements of it, and I like how the people in the trap are just like the worst, and they're very stupid too. Oh my
Yes.
lord! Like there other traps, you know, it's like you can make the excuse that like, okay, these, you know, you can't really get out of this unless you're like on your game or something. But
Yeah.
in this trap, it was like, come on, guys, what are you doing? It's pretty easy to make it on through. So that's why I put, let's see, am I on 6 out of?
You're
I don't
on
know.
6. Yeah, your sixth one. I can, for
Okay.
the record, I'm only able to keep up because so far our rankings are super similar. But yes, you're on your
okay,
6th
there you
one.
go.
Where it's falls at 6th Street.
I would put 4 next then, because it's just
Well, now we're
fine.
not. Now we're like,
It's go time. We're time. It's fine. It's all right. It's fine. But and I can't remember the name of the main guy in the trap. What's his? Is it? He's always bursting through doors. What's his
cop?
name? Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about Rig?
yeah.
Okay, Rick. Yeah. If it annoys me so much that he couldn't just wait to go through the door.
Wait,
Like-
strong.
But
Oh.
come on, though. That's like the best
Yeah,
part of that one.
What is it? Just through that is true. I do.
That's the best
I do
part of that
enjoy a Wahlberg getting their head crushed. That's why it's so high.
It's so that's such a good one.
It's fine. It is
It's
what it
fine.
is. Let's see, and then this is number 5,
5th one. Yeah.
5th one, number 3. Because number 3 again is
I
pretty
can
solid.
mute you.
What?
I can
I
mute
feel like
you
this is not
and take you off
controversial.
of this.
So me and Kaylee's game, we're taking Radar out first.
Saying, how is this controversial?
Get out.
I think you made everybody mad with that one, right?
It's because of what is the dude's name? I blocked it. I mentally blocked.
There's
Yeah.
Hoffman,
Jeff.
Strong, Riggs.
Jeff is
Yeah,
the
Jeff-
husband in 3. He's the one
Yeah.
that's going through all the.
Oh my god, fuck Jeff. What a terrible
Stop it.
character. The whole time he's just like, well, you know, it's his whole MO. He always has this dumb look on his face in these life or death situations. Like he just doesn't understand that it's life or death.
He's
It's like he
in
got called
grief,
into the-
radar.
Well,
Listen,
you know, I've been in
listen.
grief before, but I don't look like
If
I'm going to the
this-
principal's office.
If what happened to Jeff happened to me, I'm 100% Jeff. Everybody can just die. Anybody responsible, anybody who knew about it and didn't at least say sorry for my loss, out. I'm done. Like everybody.
No,
So I'm with Jeff.
no, I'm
Oh, hold on a second. I missed you. Sorry. Tasha said she does everything at home. When you said don't try this at home. And then Tara says, hi everyone, happy Friday. Hi Tara. Always nice to see you pop in. You ought to let me know what you think of the Monster Project when you're done watching it, but only if it's all positive. If it's negative, don't tell me. All right, Radar, continue. Sorry. Go ahead.
Jeff is the worst though.
I
You're the
have to
worst.
interrupt Radar. Because I'm sure we're going to talk about it again. Saw 3 is going to come up on all of these lists at some point. But in defense of Jeff, there are a lot of Saw movies where the moral is like, forgive someone. Jeff's test is to put himself in physical harm to forgive people, and I feel like that gives him a tiny bit of leeway. Maybe not at the end, but during the test.
Yes, the brain doctor's husband. Yeah.
But it's just so annoying because he didn't learn anything. He didn't learn.
Radar, people don't learn. You live in the real world with the rest of us. What do you mean he didn't learn anything?
I'd like to think he learned something.
He did. He learned to act faster. That's what he did at the end. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to go quickly this time.
Jeff is the embodiment of name 3 European countries. And he says, what? Brazil's in there somewhere, right? Or something like that. That's what I feel like Jeff is. That's what I feel like. Wow. That's Jeff.
All right. What's your next one?
So at number 4, and it's only because it got bumped by a little reworking with the top 3, but is Saw 6. And Saw 6, I feel, is a legitimately good one because it has the greatest line delivery I've ever heard in my life. Piranha. And it's so random. I love it. It's like a serious scene, and then John Kramer just walks over to that tank and goes, Piranha. like he's Ernie from Sesame Street.
Oh no.
It's so funny. But the guy going through the test in this one, like
the insurance guy.
Yeah, the insurance guy. He's a good person. Like not like he's doing he's got legitimate remorse throughout the whole thing. And of course
I would too if I woke up and all the people that worked with me were on a merry-go-round or whatever of death, and it was because of me. I'd have some remorse too.
It's just wild.
Like, it's nice.
It's so funny though, because it's like this is Jigsaw at his pettiest. Because he killed a janitor. What the fuck did janitor do?
He worked for a corrupt company. He was a smoker and didn't take care of his lungs, remember? And he worked for a corrupt
That is wild, though. That's wild.
As the movies go on, the motivation does get very watered down. That is true.
I feel like he could have kidnapped like the CEO of the insurance company, but he's like, the janitor has to die. You know?
Rick,
as he goes through the test.
Rick says, what a perfectly splendid panel. Hi, Rick.
Rick.
Oh, dang, we got Ricky on here.
The viewer says, hey, everyone, what's up? Hey, what's up? Tasha says, what if there are coworkers who should be volunteered for a meeting with John?
Uh-oh.
Your coworkers, Tasha?
I know coworkers that need to go visit John.
Say no more.
Maybe some school people.
Yeah.
But I feel like the insurance guy, like as it goes on, you know, he learns something, you know, and I don't feel like he's a bad guy. He's just a cog in a bad machine. You know, he's just doing his job. Is he a dick? Sure. He's doing his job. Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, like, who hasn't done something unethical in their job sometimes, you know?
I've never been in a position where I had to be unethical.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe just me. Pay me more and I'll actually do my job. But you know, I feel like it's a little overboard what Jigsaw put him through. And then for him to do all these things and like kind of try his best to help out his colleagues, and at the end, it's just not up to him, is wild. But it's a actually legitimately good movie. So
Rick said that poor janitor just minding his own
thank
business.
Thank you, Ricky.
And Tasha said, I plead the fifth.
That janitor was just mopping the floor and then got kidnapped.
No, he was. But the janitor was the one that was with the insurance guy first, and when the game started, right? He was on the CPAP machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Rick about that scene actually, because I was telling him that we were watching movies to prepare for tonight.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know, Joe from Horror Feed TV and I are sleep techs. We work together, and we put that mask on patients at night. So I thought it was funny the fact that Mr. Smoker, the janitor, and Mr. Prick, the insurance guy, both have to hold their breath when we tell our patients at work, you have to breathe with the machine. We're forcing you to breathe. And so for you to hold your breath so your ribs don't get crushed, I like that kill.
A little triggering.
Maybe, a little close to home for me.
A little close to home.
Yeah, because I have to get patients to breathe with the mask. And for Jigsaw to play it backwards, really, he said, hold your breath so you don't get killed and get crushed. But the guy was a smoker, the janitor. Tisk, tisk, you shouldn't smoke.
Not close to home.
And so,
Uh-oh.
as good as insurance guy.
Not close
Lexi,
to
how do
home.
you feel about janitors?
No problem with them at all. I actually give them time because they're doing things I won't want to do.
Yeah.
Unless they smoke them.
And then
Well, way of thinking. Yeah, he shouldn't smoke.
Smoke, you deserve to be in the saw. You don't.
And then let's see, my third favorite is Saw 10. Wild.
I'm
There's
okay
10
with
of these
that.
movies.
Yeah.
And it would be number 2 probably if the Mayan death mask kill wasn't lame. Like, it's the lamest one in there, and it's probably one of the lamest ones in the series because I don't know why I thought of Waffles when he got like cooked in that mask. I wasn't like, ooh, this is gory. I just felt like I could go for some pancakes right now.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie's pretty good.
I can see.
Oh yeah,
I can see.
and let's talk shit about the insurance guy. Hold on. The claim he denied was for that fucking fake treatment in Saw 10.
Yeah.
So is he really the bad guy? I think not.
No,
Still
he
yes.
still is.
No.
Nice try though.
Dang it. Look, I get it. Insurance is a scam, but I feel for the guy.
He ended up killing that one lady's husband.
He still killed a lot of people also besides that guy.
Well,
Yeah, radar.
All the people put to the test are all a bunch of pricks. So
I mean, they have a reason to do
Yeah.
Well, I mean, except for the janitor.
yeah, he is the least of the issues.
You also ranked that one higher. Like, why do you? It's fine.
Bobby's wife.
No.
Bobby's wife deserved to die.
Bobby, who's Bobby?
Bobby's the one that lied about being a Saw survivor. He
Oh
didn't-
yeah,
His
the
wife,
black guy.
I didn't put that one in there.
his
Yeah.
wife,
Guy with the
his
clay.
wife did deserve to die. I really hated that.
Oh
And-
yeah, that's true.
But the trap was really cool. That's one of my favorite
is true.
Saw traps. It's so sad. Totally agree. But that's one of the coolest traps in the franchise, in my opinion. I love that trap.
Yeah, the bronze bull.
Oh, when the hook's on the
God.
In the same movie, when the girl had the hook in her stomach and yet he had to pull it out. I hated
no.
that.
Oh, yeah.
The hook in the stomach.
pretty
I
good.
want to actually gag.
Yeah.
God, if only
Oh.
Hoffman wasn't a main focal point, I would have ranked it higher. But all right,
So
top two.
then how did you feel it at the end of X when we saw him again?
Look, It's at number 3 for a reason. It has its flaws.
Okay.
Great film, but it's got its flaws, damn it.
I love that part. I'm one of like what Kat said. I'm in like that group of people that's like, I hate him so much. Yes, he's back. Like it was such a weird string of emotions. And like my best friend and I went and saw that one in theaters, like when it first came out, and everyone else left. Of all the people that were in there, we were the only 2 that saw that scene because I was wondering, I was like, but what about that guy that lied like in the beginning? Like what happened to him? And then it was like, full circle, and then it added. Oh man, I was there for the Hoffman scene. That was so cool. I loved
They
it.
gave him such a bad line too. Wow.
Full
screw in-
disclosure, we saw when we were invited to come on here. I had only seen 1 through 3, and when I decided to let her join, I was like, I'm just going to start over. We made it all the way to 10. We still have 1 hour left to watch of 10. Because it was 8:40, we're like, oh my god, we gotta get set up.
Well, spoiler alert: there's a post-credit scene with Hoffman. Don't miss it.
No,
Sorry,
it's not, Callie.
you should have said that. Lexi.
Wait, oops.
Other post-credit scenes? I don't know. We missed
in just X. X has a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
There's like
Okay.
you think the movie's over, and then if you wait a second, there's like an additional scene. It's very short.
Yeah.
It's not super long or anything. No Avengers craziness or anything. Just very short and to the point. Let me do comments before you do your last ones, Radar, real quick. Do you think the first Saw movie is one of the best movies from the year 2004? I honestly don't know what else came out that year, but
It is the best movie from 2004. I'll take it one step further.
Cat would know. Like I
It was a
genuinely-
bad year for cinema in 2004. It was a bad year.
Rick says, I have a soft spot for Saw 2. Tara says, was not expecting that ending at all. I still feel like Brian got the shit into that stick. And who was naked on the floor for the ritual? I have so many questions. Believe it or not, I've only seen the first one. Never saw
Oh.
the sequels. And last one, Hoffman is an awesome character. Thanks.
Gosh. Damn.
I hate him so much, but I love him.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I can't stand his stupid face, but I love the things that he does.
I
And
like
I
his
love that every single time you think you're getting rid of him, he like gets out of it. Like when he was in the reverse, I was like, oh, this is the moment. And then he pushed that thing through the door, and I was like, son of a bitch. I
That
was
was
like, he is
a whole
very-
scene with the voice analysis with Perez, Erickson.
Oh yeah.
That, I was so
suspenseful.
pissed off. I was like, really? I just want to see him go down.
That was so suspenseful.
Yeah.
It was. I agree. Because you're like,
That
that
was-
was a good one.
I do have to give them props for making the FBI look like absolute morons. We'll analyze the
What
voice.
did you
and
hear,
clearly his
Radar?
voice. What? I'm a hater.
That's why you wore that shirt.
That's right. Saw sucks. Peace. No, I'm kidding. I love Saw.
So,
but I
your last 2 are 1 and 2, right? What's the
Yeah.
order? In order?
It's 1 at number 2 because
Okay.
it's the one that started it, but it's so different from the rest of them in terms of feel and everything.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's kind of slow. It's a nice, it's great because of the twist at the end. It's so iconic. And that theme. It's the first time we hear that theme.
God,
Oh,
that
is that-
music every time. I know. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so good.
It's like one of the greatest themes, like not even in horror movie history, just in history, like in
It's
general.
so good.
Thank you for saying that. On my other podcast on Slasher Radio, we do like brackets of things,
Yeah.
and I was the one person defending the hell out of Saw when it came up on the bracket, and that was one of the things I brought up was the theme that comes from the first Saw movie, and no one knew what I was talking about, and it's like, you guys are horror fans, how do you not know that
Wow.
song?
They don't
Like,
know
come
Hello
on.
Zepp? Come on.
They don't know Hello Zepp. And I
Yeah.
called it by name and no one knew what it was. And I was like, the music that plays in every Saw movie. And they're like, what?
You could,
Oh my
like, that's a
God.
good song to run to. It's a good song to march into battle to, perform operations, which is why they do it in the
Only
Saw
music
franchise.
to play in a twist. Like,
Yeah.
Good thing to hum in the shower.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That's the perfect
Yeah,
place. Any
Little shower,
yeah.
little shower ditty.
All right, so that puts 2 at 1 for you.
yeah, and 2 is just so fun. It's like such a fun thing. Like it's such a cool premise too of like a house full of traps and stuff. It's like
Poor Detective Matt Fun was there the entire time. That's why it was so fucked up.
that's so.
That's why it's a soft spot for Rick.
I'm sure.
And it has one of my like favorite moments where a character goes, "Uh-oh, I'm screwed," when the girl finds the saw blade box and she's like, "Let me get that cure," and sticks one hand through and it's like it gets stuck and then she's like, "Uh-oh, I have two hands," and the other one and it's like, "Oh no."
Like, given your surroundings, is that something you would just walk into a room and do? Just shove your hand into like a jar?
That's
No.
wild. But that one's it's so fun and like watching Donnie Wahlberg just like engage in some super high levels of police brutality is just wild to watch. Where it's like you don't need to beat him up. You know, he's an awful guy, but this guy also has cancer, Donnie. Maybe tone it back a bit. He's like just walloping on this old dude. But it's such a fun little like thing, just like across the board with all the kills and everything, like the needle pit, the traps are great.
Pit. Yeah.
Needle pit, iconic. It's got a nice twist too.
The furnace one, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot the guy's name.
Bobby.
Wasn't he the biggest hole in that one?
I think.
Is it?
I can't remember.
Bobby?
Man, they're like when he like outs him and he's like, yeah, he's the one who brought y'all here. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like, huh.
Oh no.
Jigsaw snitched.
He used him and then threw him in there with the people that like,
pretty wild. That's the definition of getting thrown, well, set on fire under the bus. But yeah, that's my ranking.
All right,
My
cool.
controversial ranking, I guess.
It's okay, I guess. Parts of it I agree with, parts of it I don't. All right, Kat, you want to give your rankings?
Yeah, sure. We were talking about this right before we started the live. I didn't prepare specifically for this. I just talk enough about Saw that I had these ready. I have these like committed to memory. But I do have like a favorites list and then like a critical best list. They're different. I'm of course giving my favorites because those are the hotter takes. Those are where the spicy takes happen. And like I said, they're close. There are just a couple movies that like I know I enjoy more than they were quality films.
Fair enough.
That is Saw. That's the whole series.
I'll stand up. I'll go to bat for like 8 out of 10 of the Saw movies. Let's start at the bottom with the two I won't go to bat for. Spiral from the Book of Saw. It's like someone really, really wanted to remake Seven with Chris Rock and had never seen a Saw movie. Like,
yeah.
with the comedy bit, they edit and I feel bad for them. Because the censors, I guess, for this really edited the hell out of the traps, which is why the traps are so confusing to look at in the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
But I have to judge it on what they showed us. And until they release the director's cut, which they refuse to do, I have to say that those don't make a lot of sense as traps. And also it's like a police procedural most of the time, but then they mail the clues to the police and there's no detecting happening. It just it doesn't work for me as a film. It doesn't have what I wanted out of a Saw movie. I was not a fan of that one. And number 9 actually used to not be, I liked it less after Spiral, which is crazy. It's Jigsaw. I didn't like Jigsaw. I like the concept of Jigsaw. And I think it was really interesting that they introduced kind of a new apprentice who would have been capable of continuing the franchise. And then we just forget about him. It's just like, don't worry about Logan ever. We're not going to talk about this dude ever again. And they also recycled the twist from 4. I will say, I think it's a lot cleaner than 4 because I knew what the twist was coming out of the theater of Jigsaw, and 4 I had to go back and watch like multiple times to make sure that I knew what was happening because
Fair
it was
enough.
very
Oh, interesting.
confusing.
A little convoluted. Yeah.
But it really is.
Also-
It's the same twist. It was like that irritated. me.
Kudos for remembering Logan's name because I sure as hell.
That's what
I remember
told
him as
you.
intern.
What's wrong with that guy?
Logan. Wait. Oh.
Logan.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
just-
knew
like,
who
I
you were
called him
talking
intern.
about once you said it, but if you had asked me what his name was, I wouldn't have remembered it either.
I will say it's because I put together. I don't know why I did this. No one asked me to do this. I'm not a screenwriter. I did put together what my pitch would be for like the next 10 Saw movies,
Jesus.
moving forward from Jigsaw.
Yeah.
I don't know why. This is how I spend my time. My number 8 spot. Angel's gonna get mad at me here in a minute, but my number 8 spot goes to Saw 4.
Ugh.
It's one of
wow.
It's Darren Bousman, Darren Lynn is one of my favorite directors of all time. I was so excited when he came on to Saw, and he did 2, which was great, and he did 3, which was great, and he did 4. And I got to the end of 4, and I was like, "What happened? What did I watch?"
Oh.
And I had to keep going back. And once the day that it finally clicked in what the timeline was for Saw 4, I was so proud of myself. Like, I felt accomplished. But it was the only one that was like that, where like I had to go back multiple times. I think that Strom and Hoffman look too much alike in that movie, which is crazy
That's
because the
fair.
actors don't look alike. But in the
No.
movie, I could not tell them apart.
Out with Jill, the newspaper writer or the article lady, versus Jill or
Jill and the
Jill
article
and
lady.
the article lady.
Yeah.
They
That's
look
fair.
like
Oh, yeah.
The one that was the main guy with
Insurance-
traps.
the insurance guy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was a
It's
sister.
like it's like generic white guy model, basically. Like if you were to
Hey,
make
hold-
like a, you know what I mean, like a copy and paste of like a generic, like a free asset on, like,
Yeah.
you know, Unreal or something. But yeah, it's
That's
yeah.
for all
they-
of them.
Yeah.
Blonde hair.
Yeah.
It also has, and I will give, I'll give some credit again to the director because I think that it was very beautiful. But they do some edits that I think were more confusing than helpful, like where he is pushed through the window and it cuts into
I love
another
that
room with the
one.
glass falling through the window. I think as a standalone movie that would have been really cool. Like that's the kind of stuff I love in editing, but
Yeah.
Saw has such a distinctive style of editing already
Mhm.
that 4
Yeah.
feels like it took maybe a few too many liberties there. But I love the traps. I like the addition to the story. This is the part where I'll start defending Saw pretty much any of these movies, like moving forward.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like how they filmed that edit?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like that. I like how
It's
they
really
literally
cool.
pushed it window.
How do they do it?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Or I haven't seen
It's-
that.
It's wild. They like literally pushed him through a window. Like they actually did that and stuff. And it's like on a cool kind of soundstage. There's like overhead shots of them doing it behind the scenes. It's cool. Look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it justice. Justice for
It's
Saw.
hard to
4.
describe, but it is really cool to watch and the like
Yeah.
featurettes.
Yeah.
My number 7 spot goes to Saw 7. Saw 3D, the final chapter. This movie is objectively terrible in like a lot of
Yes.
ways. It's very silly.
Yeah.
John Kramer wears the baseball cap backwards.
That's come on. That's iconic.
that.
That's iconic.
The
He
opening
was
trap,
he was younger because of that. Okay,
the
Yeah, okay.
opening trap is just a love triangle in public.
which is strange. Yeah.
And also Matthew Gibson, Officer Matthew Gibson of Saw 7, I think is just he's having too much fun to be in a Saw movie. Like he's having the
That's
time
fair.
of his life. We get to see Hoffman's like one of his early attempts at a trap, which is just where he has strapped a machine gun to a Roomba and sends it in to kill a bunch of cops, which I think is insane
It's
and
so crazy.
unhinged. He should not be allowed near the mechanical toys in the Jigsaw
Yeah.
office. But
Yeah.
there's something about, and also one of my favorite things, Carrie Elwes makes a return for
Come on.
Saw 3D.
That's why this one's like
He's
on my
he's
list.
inexplicably British, which he was not in the
No,
first
he
He
was
was
in
film.
the
not.
original.
I
No.
love it. But I really like the concept of Saw 3D. Like, they have the survivor group, which I think was a cool aspect.
Yeah.
They have this kind of monetization of being a survivor, which I think is really cool.
So
Like, the
cool.
themes of this one work for me, even
Mhm.
though it's objectively it's the worst quality one. And especially they have the special
Yeah.
effects that were shot for 3D, and then you
Yeah.
watch it in 2D when it gets released, and they're pink, like the blood is pink, and you're like, why is Jill just kind of strapped down? It's the only Saw movie with a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
It's bad, it's
questionable
rough,
too.
but I do love it.
Hoffman on a roller coaster ride. Right, Jill.
My number 6 one, I feel like this is gonna be my hottest take. And again,
Oh,
I'll
I know what
endorse
it
this
is.
movie. I'll endorse all of these movies except for Spiral. Saw X.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be
Oh,
Saw X when you
really?
said that.
Wow.
Yeah. And listen,
Explain yourself.
I like it. It's great. It was so nice after all these years to be in a theater watching Tobin Bell and Shawnee
Yeah.
Smith again. Like,
Yeah.
it, as a Saw fan, it made me so happy.
Yeah.
Cecilia was like, it is cartoonish, I
Like a
guess, is
Disney
what I'll say
villain.
about that one.
That is true.
It-
That is
it
fair.
felt more like a melodrama sometimes
Yeah.
than a Saw movie. The dialogue was a lot. I love this is another one. I love the concept. Like,
Mhm.
the medical scam and the quick vengeance. I think they did a really cool thing with the aesthetics of this, where we have John's like mastermind engineering brain combined with like whatever tools he can find around Mexico. Like, it's just kind of a neat aesthetic that they have that I think worked really well.
Yeah.
But it also, it's at a weird time because they know that the fans love John, and they tried really hard to make John and Amanda like almost the heroes of this, which is a
Yeah.
weird vibe that only kind of landed, you know? Like, I was willing to love John as the antagonist of
Anyway,
these
yeah.
films, you know?
Though they
It's
did
a
do that in the other movies too, though, where they're like, "Whoa, John Kramer," you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
These
He's
were
a bit of
bad.
an anti-hero. Yeah.
And I do think there are times where it works a little bit better for me,
Yeah.
which is why Saw 10 is rated like as low as it is. I don't think it's the best example of that, even though they tried really hard. Uh,
Yeah.
They gave it their best shot.
they tried.
Oh,
Gold star.
Hey, he didn't kill that kid. He just scarred him for life. That's what a hero does.
Another Jigsaw apprentice. He can team up with Logan.
Oh, no.
Logan.
Intern and the bike kid.
My number 5 spot goes to Saw 5. I'm biased toward this one because I really like Julie Benz. So it was fun to see her being in a Saw movie. That was fun for me.
I have no idea who that is.
She was
I-
Darla in Buffy.
I didn't know her name.
Yeah, her name is Julie Benz. She's in Saw 5. She's the one that makes it to the end of
Yeah.
the with Melik, I think is the other guy's name. Interesting names for the sub characters of the.
Yeah.
But I really like that one. I liked the continuous storyline. I thought the twist was like, because at 5 movies in, you kind of expect there to be a twist. So I
Yes.
thought it was interesting that instead of doing like a crazy big like show-stopping twist, it was kind of an obvious you should have been working together twist.
Oh, right.
Got him.
And I really liked how everything was like tied together. Like the crimes were also tied together.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
was cool. Yeah.
They had all been responsible for the arson.
Right.
That
It
was
worked
cool.
for
Like the
me.
one crime, they'd all been involved. They were all
It's
dirty.
stages of it, right? Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I did like that too. And when they start
They were-
piecing it together, that was really
Yeah.
neat too. Yeah.
Very slowly, but
Very.
And
that was
also-
the ones. Yeah.
Like two of the most satisfying deaths in the franchise were the Herald reporter that's being a big asshole and turns his
Yeah.
back on the woman that gets him, and then she just goes on. She's just like, okay, well, I killed one guy. I'm gonna keep killing people.
Yeah.
So Julie Benz gets
Yeah.
her with the like. That was great.
Yeah.
Back to back.
that is
Uh,
great.
It had some good moments. Strom and Hoffman were still a lot in that movie. There was a lot of Strom and Hoffman, but I'll give it a pass.
Oh yeah, isn't it just a bunch of flashbacks too of like
Yes.
Strom going to the crime scene,
Yes.
going like, "He was here." I forgot
It's
about
so
that part.
random. Yes. So random. Yeah.
4 for me is Saw 6. I love this one. This is one of the ones where I'm willing to root for John as an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I I love it. He goes in and he's like, the healthcare system is corrupt and I'm gonna just start killing health insurance agents. And I'm like, okay, I guess like I can root for this. I do feel bad for that janitor, but I guess
Thank
not that
you.
bad.
Oh,
Well, the janitor is an interesting like crossfire pick. I think the woman that I feel worst for is probably the assistant. She does like the filing and she's in there and it's like, oh man, that kind of sucks.
I did feel bad for her. Yeah.
But she gets rescued. It's fine. And I think that's kind of I think it kind of illustrates the point. The reason why I like this one so much, other than I think the shift from police to healthcare was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I do really love William. He is the most successful Jigsaw like victim ever in a group trap. Like he saves every single person that can be saved,
yeah.
with the exception of Debbie, who tries to murder him, which I just
Right.
think is amazing, like 100% success rate for him. And he's one of my favorite characters in the franchise that we don't get to spend a lot of time with.
Yeah.
Like he did good.
Also, I looked it up. The janitor's name is Hank. So justice for
Poor
Hank.
Hank the janitor.
Rip my boy Hank.
That's right.
My number 3 is actually Saw. It's the original Saw.
Oh.
I
What, Tarnation?
this is I think one of the biggest differences. Like I played around with the order of these 3 when it comes to just personal preferences. This is the one I've seen the most. I rewatched this movie a lot. I do the annual Saw marathon every year where I watch all of them up to Jigsaw. This is next year I think is going to be the first year that I have like access to the X DVD. I'm curious as to how I'll fit that into my watch along every year, but because it's already like a 16-hour ordeal watching all of these back to back. But it's but this is the one, like, I'll just put it on sometimes. It's a comfort movie for me. I love this. It's very classic. It's got the music. I think James Wan did a great job with it. I love the performances. Carrie Elwes is very dramatic in this one, which I like. But yeah, it's not my favorite. Possibly because I do think, as much as I love Carrie Elwes, I think this is the most overacted Saw film. Personally, between him and Lee Winnell, who's a great writer, I think a very talented director. You don't see him acting a lot these days, and I wonder if maybe there's a reason.
Yeah,
he's very shouty.
I like him in what's the other franchise? Insidious. Yeah. I like him in that because I think like that fits the shouty. Like the character fits how he just kind of is. So worked out.
My number 2 on my rankings is actually Saw 2. I really like this one. I think critically, this is the best Saw film. It has a style of editing that I think is both very true to Saw, but also very restrained. It's very modest. These are some of the traps that are hardest to watch, but you still don't see a lot. Needle Pit,
Yeah.
we
That's
already
true.
talked about.
Oof,
But you
yeah.
don't see a lot of the gore of Needle Pit until after they're until she's
Needle
out
Pit.
Until she gets out.
Yeah.
and they're taking the needles out, and
And that's not
that's
even
that
that
kind
gory
of
either.
That's
I
kind
love.
of why when people talk about how gory the movies are, I'm like, that really doesn't happen until later. Like,
It does.
there's
Yeah.
gore, there's stuff that happens, but it's not quite what people make them out to be until after 3. Like 3 picks up a little bit, and then after that, it starts getting,
It's like
More
Texas
and more
Chainsaw Massacre. It's like
exactly.
you think it's way gorier than it is.
Then it actually
Yeah.
is.
And they're still putting Texas Chainsaw on goriest films of all time lists. And you don't see that
Crazy.
much. And it started, I think, with Saw 1. I think one of the hardest traps to watch is also Razor Wire, which we don't really see either. We just have the quick
The quick
cutaways
little,
to the-
yeah.
I think those quick cut edits.
Yeah. And it
I-
works. I like it. I think this one's great. I love the twist. I didn't think that a twist was going to get me after the first one. And then we got a whole bunch of twists in 2, and I was like, oh my God, they got me.
I was like, oh, I get it.
So my number 1, obviously the one left, is Saw 3. It's my favorite. I'm a big fan of Amanda.
Stop it, Radar.
And
I'm not doing anything.
Stop it.
even though they did her kind of dirty at the end of this movie, I think,
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
I really appreciate her story in this.
Yeah.
I love her arc. I love how much of Shawnee Smith grappling with these emotions we get to see. And they do kind of, I don't want to say they retcon because they tease it. There's the envelope that says Amanda in Saw 3, so we know there's more to the story. We don't pick that
Right.
story back up until Saw 5,
I-
which is frustrating, where we get to find out that she was being blackmailed by Hoffman to fail her test. Which kind of added another layer. So they do kind of fix it later on in the
they
franchise.
do, yeah. But
I
although
was devastated.
I feel like her being at the clinic is not enough. Like that whole scene of her being there and being a part of it, and what happened to Jill and all that. I'm like, I didn't feel like that was super strong.
I love
John
that
tried to kill an
dynamic.
intern. So it is enough.
No, I love that dynamic though, because Amanda has a
Yeah.
lot of security issues and has had this really crazy past. I don't think it would have been enough. If Hoffman had turned her into Jigsaw, I don't think John would have cared. I
No.
would bet money that John already knew, but I do think it would be enough to
But
shake
her-
Amanda's confidence
I see what you're
Mhm.
saying.
that
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I think is why it was really well done. It made me like 3 even more after 5 came
I
out.
love 3.
But I love seeing Amanda. It's Shawnee Smith's best performance in the franchise, which was I didn't think she was going to top
Yeah.
2, but she did.
She did. Yeah, I agree. I love her.
and
She does something completely different in every movie too, so that's nice.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I loved the Lynn being married to Jeff twist.
Oh.
That was so good.
So good.
There was a lot of
Yeah.
it's classic misdirection because
They
we have
did
her at the
so-
beginning.
with
The
the
guy
guy.
that she's with asks her for a divorce.
So good.
Jeff keeps making allusions to if your mother were here, where you think that she's
You don't know
dead,
she-
and
yeah.
then
So good.
it was great. It all tied together really neatly. Except for the letter that we have to wait 2 movies for.
Well,
Well, yeah.
But
you can't win them all.
yeah.
That's the jigsaw puzzle for you.
Until movie 5.
Right, yeah, I was 2 movies away.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, Lexi and Kaylee, y'all want to give a Shaw's rank? It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to go first can go
Oh,
first. Unless it's the exact same. But
Who
So
is it?
starting from worst to best, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
We didn't like Jigsaw.
we didn't like Jigsaw. I think that's our number 10.
Okay.
Because it was just messy. And
It was.
what did we do? Notes, okay?
You took a
No, sure.
Oh.
Fine.
That was like it went like a decade back. And it was like the weird, what was it? The medical examiner guy. I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
messy. It was
Logan.
I didn't like the fact that he was there
Logan
before Amanda.
Right. The twist was so confusing. Like that was the only one that really confused me, and I feel like I need to go back.
I think I was also mad about. I think that was the one where the mother set up her husband and made it look like she rolled over on the baby. I was just like, I'm done with this one.
No one likes that.
I was pissed off. I was like,
Yeah, I hated that.
I didn't
I
like.
will admit that movie taught me something. I didn't know you could go to jail for that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank
So-
Yeah, you're not
Jigsaw.
supposed to. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like the whole decade. Like, who are you? And
It's like
I felt like Amanda started it with Jigsaw first, and then Hoffman joins.
then just
And
switch it up,
then
and then we forget about him.
who
He doesn't show up in any of the future movies.
is that?
yeah,
No, the guy at the end.
Oh,
Logan.
the poor examiner guy.
That's what Kat was saying. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we just like
I agree
forgot about him.
I agree with
Logan
that. You don't
Intern.
see him ever again. Like who?
Wait,
is
ever
he?
again? He was just like a random.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy is important for like this few minutes of the movie. Oh wait, we don't need him anymore. Pop.
I
Yeah.
do like some. I mean, there were some cool scenes with the crooked cop and then the medical examiner face to face around the neck and the lasers, and then he realizes the lasers never pierced this ceiling above him. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh,
But-
oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, because remember he looked up.
He looked
We
up,
literally
yeah.
binge watched the rest, like 5 of them today.
Oh,
We woke up.
Kind of like muddled together when you do that. They like
yeah.
But no, it was just not our favorite. We were like,
It was messy and confusing. I like when the gun like shot backwards. I didn't expect that.
oh, yeah. Well, she fucking deserved it. She killed the baby because she was annoyed. So fuck her.
Also,
I don't care.
Brian. I feel like Brian is my favorite character in that movie. I don't know why. It was he got. I felt so bad for him near the end.
yeah.
Ryan, which one is that?
Brian is the one that died with the baby killer.
Oh,
I forgot her name.
Oh,
That-
okay.
That's
oh no, he hung myself.
No.
That had nothing to do with Saul, right?
No, not the husband.
Oh,
The
you're
Yeah.
better with names than I am.
Ryan was the one that got his legs stuck in the wires.
in the
Oh,
thing on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
That
that.
I don't know
drain,
why I like him.
that
He-
drain thing was like you won't catch me on a farm. I'm very indoorsy, but
Oh,
that
the
brain thing is like the shit of nightmares. Like
Yeah.
when it starts like filling up, I was like, I'm so
Oh,
stressed out right now.
Oh,
I was so
Yeah, that's-
stressed during that scene.
and the weapons were dropping.
Oh, that's
Yes.
shit. Anxiety.
Claustrophobia.
So there was
That's
some good things about it, but like
Yeah.
the storyline was like
It was so confusing to me. Like my little baby.
it was just like a random story they needed to make Jigsaw, and I was like, okay.
My
I
little baby.
felt so that's number 10. I feel like number 9 would be definitely Spiral. I felt like Spiral was
Take
a
that,
little
Spiral.
different than Jigsaw because I am a huge fan of Samuel L. Jackson. When I saw he was in it, I was like, oh motherfucker, okay. Chris Rock, I will say I didn't think he was right for the film as he's a comedy person, but to see him switch up and do something new, I did respect that.
And he was kind of adorable.
I liked him.
Adorable.
Shh.
But the whole, I think you said it, Kat, where it was like a repeat of the whole Hoffman story. Where they, the police department, and everybody's losing the officers, and for a long time, I thought it was Samuel. I thought the dad, like I'm really good at guessing people, and we were saying that guy's so sweet, and his partner, and because Chris Rock said he didn't trust anybody in the field.
Because he
in the
was so
force.
sweet.
And then it happens to be his partner, and I was like, oh man, I thought it was his father.
And I was like, dang it.
That was the
No.
first and only time I was wrong.
Okay.
The whole franchise or ever?
Yes, what I did not like about Spiral, and I think you agree, was the fact that it was the only one that had, when the tapes and the TVs came on, it was the pig and a different voice. Nobody we knew.
iffy.
Yeah.
So it was messy. Good, some good things, but
The movie also. I'm
it was
sorry.
more of a true crime than it was Saw.
Yeah,
The only
yeah.
things I really, really like about it was it made me feel so bad for Zeke? Question mark.
Zeke, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No, it made me feel so bad for him. Literally every single person that he cares about was just kind of ripped away.
Yeah. But the movies there. Number 8. We wrote notes.
We just give us all.
Oh, okay. So what did we say? We said Jigsaw. That's number what?
We
That's
said
number.
Jigsaw, then
No.
Spiral.
No, that's number 8. Sorry. So it's up to you. Which one you thought was?
Don't put me over this.
Well, y'all decide. I'm gonna do comments really, really fast. Blood and Bruise. Hey, what's up, Albert? Says that's a lot of films. And Norin, hi Norin.
Hey, Norin.
Says hi everyone. Hope y'all have an absolutely spooky stream. Norin, are you a Saw fan? I can't remember if you are or not. I don't remember if that's your jam or not.
Better at the end. So, in my opinion, Saw 7 was my number 8. That's the one where the line author. I do like the concept, the fact that this guy puts out a book and he's saying he's in it, and then Jigsaw turns it around and is like, you should know this story very well because
No,
you're right.
I'm the only one who was nice to this movie.
Yeah, it was messy though. It like started off a little rough for me.
Yeah, it does start out a little not good kind of crazy.
If you're going to be the final chapter, you better make it good. And
Right.
I don't remember something coming back in that time. And then what dumbfounded me the most was the end. That's when Zepp from Saw 1, the guy that cut off his foot, the doctor, comes back in.
Oh, Dr.
I mean,
Gordon.
I never seen
Yeah,
it.
Dr. Gordon.
yeah,
That could
but
have been a good concept.
his coworkers call him Zepp, is what I remember.
No, Zepp is the janitor from the first one.
The
Yeah.
orderly.
Orderly.
Oh, it's the other
Didn't he
guy.
have a mop bucket? I guess orderlies do that too.
You can only kill one lower
You can only
management
kill
health
one
employee.
janitor.
I hate names. I apparently hate janitors. I really don't.
No.
But
No,
got her.
Zepp is the guy in the beginning that goes to Dr. Gordon's house with his wife and his
Yeah.
daughter. That's who
Right.
Zepp is. But go ahead.
and not only is it just messy, he failed every test he was put up to. He allowed the lady to get her eyes pierced and the mouth pierced. Like what was it?
That was the fun one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that little carousel.
Oh, that was the
shoot.
Carousel.
no. That's a different one, I think.
Oh, that's fine.
That's
That's
sick.
fine.
or
That's
six.
6. That's insurance time.
Which, and I just want to throw this out here because Bobby does not save anybody at all. It's immediately after William, who does save everybody
A
he
lot of
can.
people.
So
Yeah.
the
William,
Right.
William.
I think
Yeah,
I
Bobby's-
have a different. I think I have a different opinion from you.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Oh,
My next one. What are we at? Those
Number 8.
The
Number
8th
8.
one. Maybe would be 5.
what?
Maybe.
Get out of here. I'm
So
saying.
far, y'all are matching mine pretty much. Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Because I like it. I like the other ones better. And okay, it was. I think the 5 people were stupid.
Yeah.
These are all valid points. I
Every time
I can't argue.
Yes, because they don't listen to the tape.
But then again,
They don't listen to the rules.
I mean, think about it. You'd be panicked and stuff, and you wouldn't really be willing to listen. You'd be pretty much just die or live.
I mean, that's the concept of the game.
Yeah.
You would say live or die.
But he literally gives you the answers. Like when he said what was the one you were talking about, the shotgun being shot backwards? He said something about being backwards, and then he said, "Here's the key to something," and he held the bullet. And
Yeah.
he literally said, "This is your key." They just don't listen. And I'm
No.
like, yeah. But so that's your opinion.
I suppose because I don't have the best memory.
But no, for me, 7 is just.
I like 7.
The
I
final
love,
chapter.
I love the concept of it.
I just felt like the final chapter, like if you're gonna go out with a bang, you gotta fucking
Right.
blow them
It
off of me there.
They were
And
too
it was-
focused on the 3D. That's really what it boils
Yeah.
down to. They made it for 3D, so they tried to do outlandish shit that didn't make any sense. And like Kat said, then when you watch it, the coloration is completely off. It's because they made it for 3D. I think if they had just made it a regular ass Saw movie, I think it would have gone in a very different direction.
I will say though, incredible in the 3D because there are a lot of plot holes in that movie that I just didn't even notice in the theater. I was like, oh
There
yeah,
you go. I
Saw movie ever.
I forgot about this, and now that we're talking about it, I remember it now. But that has one of the guy who gets hanged.
Yes,
makes me laugh every time because it just yeets him. it doesn't just he gets yeeted. It just zips him on up like a cartoon character.
Can you tell that the TV in that moment happened because she was like, "Why would he throw the key knowing he can't see a damn thing?"
Which movie was that?
That was number 7, the final chapter.
Oh,
Yeah.
which one was the one with the wife that didn't deserve to die? That was 7.
That's
No,
all.
that
That's 7.
no, that was 7. Yes, you're right.
That's 7.
Yeah.
With the
What was the
imposter, the fake survivor.
I know there's so many.
That was the one with the crappy guy, the one that had the 2 and then the guy with the guy that smoked and was in the mask.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
6.
insurance guys. That's
Six.
number
6.
So- moving on. Number 7. Is that where we're at? Number 7.
Yes.
I felt, because I feel like after the final chapter and forward, besides X, because we only watched half, it was getting good, and then I had to hurry up. I was like, "Oh my god, we gotta get on Voices." It was starting to get good, so I'm gonna exclude X. So we really just have like a top 9.
That's okay. No, that's fine.
9 out of 10 is an A.
I'm gonna have to say 3 would be my next one because it was just all.
Oh,
I know. I'm sorry, and it was,
Arnie, no, Lexi,
Lexi's
Do
not
we need
gonna
to
invite it back
just-
on.
you just heard us lay into radar about this. How dare you?
well, 3
Jeff
is
sucks.
because we're all in one room, and Amanda is a great and strong character, but she was definitely, I don't know, just
So mad at
annoying. I know she was. I don't know. It's just I wanted more from number 3. It was good on a story concept, but it was also at a moment where we're getting so many clues that we later find out what they're for. Later, it was like the one movie where we get all these clues and we don't get to see anything until like 2 movies later. And the other, what's the one where? Hold on.
I'm probably gonna
Where's
say
she
the
get,
thing.
oh no, that's 5. So never mind. I'll bring
Albert
that
says we're talking about Hostel, right?
up.
Hatchet. We're talking
Yeah.
about Hatchet.
Hatchet. I was gonna say
Hatchet.
the same thing.
Hatchet.
Cat beat me to it. Hatchet.
I said the same thing as her in this part, just 3-2.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
yeah,
Is it
because
for the same reasons, or
Pretty much. I don't.
for me, it was just like it was that moment where everything was like coming together. The one thing I did like is that they were figuring out that there's suspicion of another person because Amanda can't carry all these people on her own. So I was like, interesting.
Yes.
And then you don't really, based on the characters in that film, you don't really get it, who it could be until we get introduced to Hoffman, which we feel is our favorite character.
I feel like
Besides Strom and Perez, like I put them above
I
Hoffman.
do love Perez. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish we had more time.
It shocked me because we wrote in our notes, we said, where was it? On number 5, we wrote Perez dies. And then on Saw 6, I wrote, so you think Perez dies? She's dead for sure now. But I like the fact that Hoffman thought he was going to get away with everything. And then he's like, nobody survived. And then he sees Strong getting carried out on the gurney. And then he's like, because I was like, oh shit, he's going to be asking questions. He ain't done questioning people. He ain't done questioning Jill and all that. Anyways, I'm getting out of hand here. So I don't even know where we left off. So we're just gonna keep going. I don't know. I don't care.
It's 6.
I guess it's technically 5, right? Because you're not included.
Yeah, so you're on number 5 now.
So you're on 5.
3, I guess, would be Saw 1, only because it's
What is happening?
What in tarnation's going on?
I don't even remember it is anymore.
This is not alcohol, Lexi. I am not prepared for this conversation.
Uh-oh.
No. Okay. Anyways.
What? Anyways.
Because Saw 1, although very great, I want to rank it higher, but there's so much that I like about all the other ones, which I'll get to. But Saw 1 is a great movie. It's the beginning, and you're all in that one room. I love the whole film. There's nothing really bad I can say about it. Rank-wise, based off of all the other details that I like on the other ones, that's probably why I rank it lower. All I wrote on that one was 2 guys in a sawed-off fight.
Yeah.
It's all
You really need to say.
Now, I found it very interesting, and that brings me back to what I was saying before, is the fact that I love the 2 guys, Adam and the Dr. Gordon. I love that they, were nervous at first, worked together, and they end up, one ends up dying, but I love the fact that at the end of 6 or one of the 2, 6 or 7, I think it was the final chapter.
7.
He pulls off the mask and traps Hoffman. That's what it was. And we never saw Dr. Gordon again after that.
My
at least
favorite Saw movies of all time.
Have we put
Game over.
Have we
So
put
good.
Final Fantasy over yet?
Yes, we already did.
Oh, okay. Good.
Then next, I wish we would have went the other way
We
because that would have been a lot easier.
Radar messed me up too because I don't normally go backwards, but I listed mine on a thing so I can read them, but I don't normally do it that
So when
That's how I do my hatchet ranking.
I didn't know about the rankings until today.
Should I put mine for 5?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think my next one for 5 would probably be 7.
We already did that. Oh no, that was you.
No,
yeah, we were
I-
different. We were
I-
different.
yeah.
That's right.
7 lower. Yeah.
I feel like 7 because I liked it for like the 5 part. I liked it as a concept. I love the payback
On you.
Oh, yeah.
on Marty. Like I feel like he shouldn't have lied about something like that.
Oh, the author.
If that happened in real life, a bunch of people would hate him. I would too.
Yeah.
It was good. No, totally agree.
I love the fact that Jigsaw turned it around and be like, "You should know this game because you were apparently in it."
And
That's some petty shit.
Jigsaw was sassy in that part. I loved it. And, the wife didn't deserve to die. I really,
No, she did not. I agree.
she really.
Oh
was.
yeah, that's because, and that's what got me so mad with that one because he kept failing every single one, and every time he failed, the wife got chained down more and more, and basically on her knees. And I was like, "What an idiot!"
She had no idea what she was married to either. She had no
Yeah.
idea.
Even though that's what it was, she didn't know that he wrote that book and lied about it.
That's the thing about Hoffman too. I liked Jigsaw's thing about not killing people who don't deserve it. He just kills for no reason sometimes, and it kind
Yeah,
of
Hoffman didn't care.
Yeah.
right. He just went on a rampage. Didn't like the 2 people in freaking Saw 6, where the 2 people that one guy didn't have a family, the other girl had a family, but and he was supposed to keep it, and then he let go of the one that didn't have a family. None of them deserved that. He didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that. Neither of them deserved that.
Oh, I remember.
They all worked for the health insurance company with the janitor.
God.
We all know
Yeah.
the
They
janitor
had to go.
With Hank. They worked with Hank.
thing.
And everyone knows Hank's the
The
ultimate
janitors
bad.
were there anyway.
Yeah, but But Hoffman's traps were the one. Was it Hoffman and Amanda, or Hoffman or I can't remember. But like where they started to realize that there was like literally no way to actually escape them, and it's when
Yeah.
it kind of changed the mentality of like the
was
teacher who's
Amanda.
teaching these specific things of like appreciate your life. Here's an opportunity to survive. To know it's just carnage and death. Like we don't care if you survive. Like that guy that had the hook in his
Yeah,
mouth, but meanwhile there was there was these things they were finding where they're like, even if they had gotten out of this, they couldn't get out of this. So what was it's a complete different
It was like
thing.
you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You'd still die either way.
That one does deserve a lot more praise than what I'm saying, but just
I agree.
I go
What is
based on
number 3.
for me the way. I'll just say this, full disclosure. The reason why Saw has so many movies is because of the storyline. It carries throughout the entire film, and that's what makes them so great.
Yeah.
Storyline wise, that's why one is kind of deetered down on my list. It does set the bar, sets the tone and everything, especially with the effects of the movie, the story concept, the music, everything. But it does set a bar because that's what starts the whole thing. But we get the background and the details of everything on why those two were in that room later on. Because we didn't know Hoffman helped Amanda drag these people in, and that Hoffman was being trained. And so we get a lot of the background details. We're two guys in a saw foot. That's all I wrote on. So that's my way of thinking. I don't even know what number I'm on anymore, but I'm glad you're paying attention. So after that one, I'm going to say the 5th one, where Strom survived. Detective Strom survives. He's on Hoffman's ass. Jill gets the weird box, which we didn't get to see, and we were upset about the 5 people working together. Which I caught that from the beginning. I was like, they're all supposed to be working together because there's
so much room in those holes.
Well, with the whole part where the room was going to explode with the nail bombs, and they had to crawl into the little sewer holes.
There was plenty of room.
There was plenty of room for like 3 of you to fit in one. So.
No, there was supposed to be three people, but there was actually supposed to be 5 because all 5 of them.
They were all supposed to work together, but again, nobody listens to the tape and what Jigsaw's saying. You can literally survive these games if you just fucking listen.
Yeah.
Do a little fix your ears.
Yeah. But I do like number 5 because it carries on from number 4. But yeah, I love the whole story with trying to take Hoffman down, and we're getting closer and closer. So 5 for me was probably the next one, which is, and we get a little more from Jill. I like her storyline going throughout because, at first you first meet her, she's just like an innocent woman. Her baby got hurt because of the drug addict, and, you feel for her. And then she all of a sudden starts playing the game, and then you see that she's working with Hoffman, but then she turns on Hoffman. So it's like, that's when that whole thing starts going down. Do you agree with that, or?
I mean,
You did put 5, that's right.
Okay, so I think. Well, what do I think?
What for you?
I think that my next one would be.
We just took notes. We should have put it in order.
I did mine right before we came on.
My next one would probably be Saw 1.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Crazy.
Okay, you put wow.
I don't know any of you.
It's basically the same thing we had.
Even though she
There
was
are other ones about-
Yeah, I think the rest we're going to be in agreement on.
Okay.
We have 3 left. We have these 3 left.
Maybe.
So, wait, no, because I said that one. I think we have 2 left. I don't know. Who cares?
We have 3.
I'm just going to skip all the way to my favorite one, number 4.
Chaos.
Number 4 is your favorite.
Skipping all the way to my favorite one because I feel like I'm going out of order and backwards. But number 4 was my absolute favorite one because Saw 2 would be my second favorite. But I was wondering what happened to Matthews after the whole son situation. He gets locked and I like that he gets mad in the hallways and stuff like, fuck you, you're not talking to Amanda. And then we like don't see him during number 3. And then he comes back in 4 and he's
So
chained
good.
up his neck.
Favorite scene.
And this is when because remember I said on number 3, there was suspicion of another person helping Amanda. And I was like, oh, it makes you question like, who the hell is it? And then I was listening, because at this point you better listen to everything that is being said. And I was like, I don't like this Hoffman guy. There's something the entire time.
From the first time you meet him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was his face.
White
Smart-ass face.
guy number, I think Kat said this one time, generic white guy number 1 or something. Or yeah, I think Kat said that when we did our trap one back when 10 came out, I think.
And I think you said number 4 was your favorite too. We put stars right next to it. Because that was the one where Riggs, with his challenge was to go home to his family or stay with your career and try to figure this out. And the entire time we were like, when we figured it out, we were like, oh my God, the whole time you should have just went home. And it would have saved the entire police department, but he ended up basically killing almost everybody on his police force because he made the decision to move forward with his. So I was like, that's a great twist.
Yeah.
But every index card he found said, go home. It's not too late. And then pictures of your family, like what else? Like, and that's again, brings me back to nobody's listening to Jigsaw whatsoever. You don't hear the rules.
Why would you listen to her?
Well,
I mean,
the
yeah.
thing is, though, right, is that this is supposed to touch on pieces of humanity, right? People who are stricken with grief don't pay attention. They don't do things. They, it's a very different reaction. People like Riggs going through like his obsession with what is happening and what is going on. Like it's supposed to be kind of this thing of like, this is the state. Like I think sometimes and I know I'm guilty of this when we're talking about horror movies specifically, we act like we give people too much credit. We just assume that these things wouldn't actually happen. Like, oh, no way would someone ever film something that horrible. They literally do it every day in real life. Literally every day. So like that's kind of like the whole thing with but not all of these movies do it very well, but that's one where it's like it really was just so ingrained in him and it had become an obsession. And when that happens, there's no logic here. You have blinders. You got blinders on.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what
Four is one of my favorites.
I wonder what the hell Hoffman would have done if Riggs had
Radar?
just. I wonder what the hell Hoffman would have done if Riggs just would have
Nobody.
like and just had a beer and like Hoffman's like,
But they all kept saying, please don't come through the door. Please don't come through the door. And he goes to the door because he picked his career over his family. And he ends up killing the whole floor. But it pans to the ice blocks coming down on Matthews. It pans to, I forget the guy. I think it was Art Blank or whatever his name was. The thing on his back. Yeah. And then it pans over to the electricity box, not to Hoffman's face. And now I was like, because when the lights first came on, I was like, maybe it's not Hoffman. But I don't know.
I didn't buy that. Yeah, I didn't buy that. I was like, no, I don't know.
I said it the entire time. I was like, no, something's with this Hoffman guy. And then when I saw the whole thing go down when Riggs goes through the door, I was like, okay. And then we rewound it. I was like, look, Kaylee, this is, as a horror person, you watch every little thing. I'm really good at watching shit. And then when he like exposes himself, I was like, I fucking knew it. I loved it. I was so in tune with
up out of the chair like the asshole he is. Yeah.
yeah.
And then number 5 ends up being my number 2 because it continues now that Hoffman's exposed. Number 5 comes in and they finish. And he's like, oh, everybody died. And then he sees Strom. And then the reveal of Perez coming back from life or from death. I was like, oh, I thought she died because you see the blood on the hospital
It
pillow.
was wasted.
It was very wasted.
Her
Yeah.
back was so wasted. They should have done so much more with her.
I agree, but I love the smug face that she had each time she talked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, get it, girl. Get it. Get his ass. That's why Strom and Strong and Perez were always my favorite. Then Hoffman. She always like, nope, Hoffman.
Hoffman's pretty cool. I like
I think that was
Love
all of them. I don't know.
Love
I confused
Hoffman.
myself. I can't math right.
I have my 3.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think.
Yeah,
My third one would probably be 2. Cause,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
well, 2. Well, I think
No,
it's 2.
I'm sorry. So it would be 4, 2, and then 5.
and then 5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because that whole, like you said, Kat, the whole like so many twists, and then the sun being in the room the entire time. I was like,
Two was just
like,
so,
there-
2 was super
it's not
memorable.
even live video.
2 was so memorable to me, and I like when I watched 2, I was kind of hesitant about even like finishing going through with being here, but 2, I was like when 2 was finished, I was like, oh, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
Okay, my top 2. I might.
I think what got us at number 1, I'm sorry to interrupt. Number 1, again, I'm sorry, I rated it low, my bad. But what hooks you into seeing the rest of them is the fact that Jigsaw gets up from the floor at the end.
That bitch was on the floor the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
Whole
wild.
time.
yes. That's the bar, right?
I have never felt the way that scene made me felt ever in my whole life since
Yeah.
before. Never.
Yeah.
That feeling is specifically reserved for the first time watch of the first Saw movie.
Mhm. Yeah,
That is
and from that moment,
Crazy.
yeah, that's why my rating of that one deserves so much more. But when it comes to the details and then the storylines come in, I was like, oh man, this is teetering down more and more. But it does set the bar for absolutely all of them. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
While you guys were talking, when you were talking about your top 3-ish, I was like, when you said that, oh, I think she agrees with me. I think 4 is her favorite. I was like, oh, because I was like, in my mind, I was conflicted. I'm conflicted still kind of right now between 4 and 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
I don't know. I have a soft spot for 6. I
Oh,
don't
the
know
voice
why.
analysis one.
I don't the one with the guy, the stupid crappy guy. The stupid,
Insurance
stupid.
dude.
Insurance guy.
Insurance dude. I
Yeah.
hate him. And he deserved every bit of death.
But you said your favorite one was number 2.
Oh.
My third one. But okay, after hearing you talk about it, 4 is my top.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
then
okay.
6. And
And then 6 would be
so 6 is very close to being my first because I don't know. I just
Because
really
you felt for that one girl.
right, and I don't know why. I just really freaking liked it. I really liked it. I don't
That's more than reason enough. Yeah.
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 That's all you need sometimes.
need reasons.
Yes, you do.
I do. I can't remember much.
Right. I know we crammed a lot of them in. 'Cause
I-
we had watched like the
And
first.
that does make it hard because then I like struggle. Like I was telling them before y'all jumped on, I was like, I had to go back and watch the trailers for a couple of them because I couldn't remember what order they were in. Some of them
Right.
just
No, it's real.
Yeah.
That's Saw 1, 2 guys and sawed off foot. Step number 2, Detective Matthew's son. Shocker. 3, kidnapped. Doctor kidnapped. Like, yeah.
I really liked 6 because I liked that Perez came back and Perez and
Bad bitch.
for like 5 minutes and then
Gideon and Perez. I feel like they were a good team that knew the whole time. They definitely knew
Right.
that
That
he
was
was
when
him.
Jigsaw's motivation was revealed.
Right, and like freaking, it was so obvious that they were both smug the entire time. Gideon was better at hiding it, but
Gideon was their baby, right?
yeah, that was the name. That was
Yeah.
going to be the name of the baby. Yes.
Gideon was the baby. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the person that was with Perez, and
Oh, that's Erickson.
The boss?
Erickson.
Oh, Erickson.
Sorry.
But no, I liked their like team in that, like teaming up against Hoffman, even if they did both die.
When we were talking about, I know what you're talking about now. We were talking about how Perez and Strom were such a good team, but then when Strom goes missing because nobody knows he's dead yet,
Yeah.
Which I was so mad at Strom because it said, if you listen to the tape, to get in the box if you want to be saved. And then he pushes, yeah. Anyways, but then Erickson really thought like Strom was in on this because of the evidence that they're collecting. And then
He's super.
I wish I would have saw like a scene, and that's my only nitpick. I wish I would have saw a conversation between Perez and Erickson, like behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Like, hey, if you protect me and keep me thinking that, keep Hoffman thinking I'm dead, I'm going to tell you everything I know.
Yeah.
What me and Strom thought of. And so I like the fact that she was smug when she came back into scene. And he was like, why didn't you tell me she was alive? And I was like, oh, snap. And so she probably tuned in to Erickson and everything she knew.
Right. They should have at least done some sort of flashback.
Yeah. Like, yeah. With all the flashbacks.
That would have been neat. Yeah, that would have been a good
Either way, 4 is still my favorite because I was so shocked with the overlapping of 3 and 4. I didn't, because it overlapped and I didn't expect this.
Because they were saying their suspicion of another player.
It did good.
It was directly, like, it was like over.
To be continued.
This is the first thing that they overlap it. This is where the next movie starts. Well, it made no sense.
Yeah. 4 kind of felt like these were things we would have liked to have had also in 3, but couldn't make it a 6-hour movie. So let's make it another one that's happening, around the same time or at the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to get through my rankings relatively quickly, and then we'll jump into talking about traps. So from the bottom, Spiral, I think enough said, right? 8 is next, which is Jigsaw. Bleh. I really didn't like that one either. Next is Saw 5. I think the biggest thing that always sticks out to me when I think about Saw 5 is I never remember which one it is. And I think that tells me everything I need to know about how I feel about Saw 5, because I know I've seen it at least 4 times. Next is 6. So everything after 5, I'm kind of with Kat. I really like the rest of them a lot. So it's just a matter of like little nitpicky things that kind of change the order here. But next is 6, the insurance one, which I loved. I thought that one was really, really good. 7 is above that for me. I love 7. And I'm going to go a little bit into that one really quick because 7 has Chester in it. In one of the craziest, funnest thing, traps. I loved that. That was so good. Hugely compared
Right.
Pasted.
I love that
the car. Nobody talked about that. But yeah, the car in 7.
The neo-Nazis.
The biggest thing about 7 that I love is that it's really like 6 movies in one. There's so many things going on in it, and I'm fine with the chaos. It's a Saw movie. By 7, I'm just glad they're still entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this one I liked because I really loved the concept of the victim, the fake victim, and like the trying to get notoriety from that, and really being stupid and putting a huge bullseye on the back of his head for this. And one of my favorite things, and it's the backwards hat scene, he comes up to the table and he says to him, as silly as that is, y'all, when he says, "We've already met," I lost it. I was like, oh, you are so fucked. I was like, I cannot wait for this to come full circle. He's like, "We've already met." And I was just like, oh, I am in this. Whatever this brings to me, I am accepting wholeheartedly. And then with the return of Dr. Gordon, I loved that part. I don't think it makes sense. I'm not arguing that it makes sense. It just made my vengeance heart happy because as much as I love Hoffman, I hate him. So when he got his big moment in the same room where he got his start, and he says, "Game over," and closes the door, literal chills every time I watch that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise. So good. So that's my
more with Dr. Gordon. Like, we never saw him again.
I think
introduced.
Yeah.
I think it gets risky because I think if you keep going back to the same from the first, it kind of starts to feel like just a nostalgia pull. It doesn't really feel like, because to me, it didn't make sense that he would become an apprentice. He wasn't in a situation with Jigsaw long enough to be like brainwashed, or like he was like, I
Oh,
didn't.
a bunch of
Are you going to talk about it, Kat?
Gordon.
I was just gonna throw this out there. That's fully explained in my 13 movie plan. If Josh Stolberg wants to get at me, I know how this can be fixed into the timeline. He never answers my DMs anymore.
Oh,
I just
Oh, I
think
thought-
that
I thought you were going to
means-
talk about the lip in Saw 2.
the what?
The key behind the eye. The person who puts
Oh.
it in his head is
It's
lipping.
him. It's
It's
Dr.
Dr.
No, I
Dirk.
know. But
Okay.
they're force feeding that in an effort to validate his purpose in the movie. Whereas we
Okay.
got nothing else to kind of like, it needed more, you know, but I didn't care
Right.
because I was like, what the fuck? And then
This one you can tell not needed.
yeah, it was one of those things where I was shocked, but I was so happy, and I loved him being able to say the line and like closing the door. I was there for all of that. So 7 is one of my favorites. Right above that is 4. I'm absolutely loved 4. I loved Riggs. I think not maybe of all the movies, but of, you know, a majority of these movies, I feel like get kind of away from like diving into like people making bad decisions because of their wiring and the way that their brain works or how focused they are on things. And I really liked his story because I think that while it does seem easy for some of us to be like, meh, I'm going home, I think that for him, it made more sense that that wasn't the situation. It made more sense that this was something he had to do. He felt obligated. He felt guilt. He felt so many things that I think validated his reasoning for continuing forward. I also have to admit, loved the death of the sex offender. I thought that was great. I'm always here for stuff like
That's
that.
pretty brutal.
Megan's death is one of my favorite scenes in any of the movies. The feel what I feel on the wall, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's so, because
Yeah.
when I think we're all feeling what Jigsaw feels.
Uh-huh. No,
We're
I
all
love
kind of
I-
feeling
Yeah, I
about
love that. I love that little moment. It's not super long, you know, it doesn't take a long time for it to happen, but I love that one too. Right above 4 is X. And the biggest things about X that I loved is we get a very specific idea of who John is, we think, based off the first movie when he gets up and we realize he's the patient and he's got to, and all these things, right? But when we get to 2, other than seeing Amanda, you know, as obviously she's the one in the reverse bear trap, we don't get a lot of the in between. She goes from he saved my life, that was really fucking scary, to like this. She's like, I'm just here to help, you know, like it's a very
Right.
like very abrupt shift. So I liked that in X, we got to see this push and pull of their dynamic. We got to see Amanda really struggling with this concept. And like, I felt like it was really cool to kind of see them in that interim stage between what we saw in 1 and what we got in 2. I liked that we were able to finally see that she didn't just become the way she was in 3 overnight, that there was some hesitancy, some, you know, like I really liked that we got to see that.
Tell from what we watched an hour in, we go a little back, not too far back, but to where she's first learning, I'm assuming.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So X
Yeah.
takes place between 1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Something.
So
I think
it's,
so.
but it's great because I liked
Right.
that backtracked. I like that we went back to the insurance story essentially and like got more stuff with that. I thought that was good. I loved it. And I know
All that.
Good.
I've already
You heard it
ruined
here
this for
first,
you guys.
people. Angel loves insurance.
Yes. Yeah. And I know like I kind of ruined this for you guys already earlier, so sorry. But I also loved the last scene in X when we do get Hoffman again. I thought that was really cool. That makes like it doesn't really need to be there, but it's for the fans, and I can appreciate that because I think that they know that there's like a Hoffman like groupie, you know what I mean? Like they know that that's like a thing. So I thought that was really fun, just a fun little oh shit, like, you know, one of those kind of moments.
Yeah. I think where we left off on X was the ladies. It was just beginning the games where she she wired off her leg, and then the next.
Oh yeah.
That part was so that was uncomfortable, but it was good.
Yeah.
Very well done. Very
Yeah.
realistic looking. I feel like,
Hurried up and get
yeah.
it's
Um,
It just ended actually, and
yeah,
I,
it
remember,
definitely just ended.
I remember like I think the next girl, freaking Gabriella, hers was about to start.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, y'all got some good
Okay.
stuff to get to then.
Yeah.
So right above X is 2. I love 2, then 1, and then 3. 3 is my favorite of this franchise. I
What the
absolutely
fuck?
love the storytelling in 3. I don't care what Radar says. Or anybody for that matter, I love 3. I think 3 is the most realistic Saw movie of them all, as far as the people in the story. Because I'm telling you now, if something happened to my child, what happens to Jeff and what is the wife's name?
Lynn.
Lynn. I knew it was with an L, but I couldn't remember the rest of the letters. I'm Jeff, 100%. The only thing that made me dislike Jeff as a character is the way he treated his daughter. That part was really upsetting to me, and it kind of balanced out feeling bad for him in a good way for me, because then it was like you kind of like you got to like change your life, man. Like it's hard, and I'm with you. Like let them all die. Definitely the rack. I'm here for the rack. That is one of my favorite traps. Like I'm like just stand there.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
That's
the
what I need.
one that
Oh my
God.
Twist.
I'll explain that.
Yeah.
It's so good though. And like I gotta be
It
honest
is.
with you. If somebody killed your child, that wouldn't make you feel good to watch. I'm telling you now, I'm that person. I would be like, I'm just
I
gonna sit
like
back.
it.
I'm not.
In fact, yeah, I liked it for the film. So for me, I can handle blood, guts, gore, and everything as a horror fan. What I cannot stand that makes my skin crawl is the sounds of bones breaking.
Tasha's
Ah.
the same way. That's one of her bugaboos.
Every time a bone broke, I was like, ugh.
It's so good. Oh, and then you get that last shot of it just moving. Oh, I was so I'm like, even I felt better about the situation after it happened. I was like, well,
Oh, my
Jeff, we can
goodness.
go home and sleep easy now. You know what I mean? Like I
The
felt
beginning
so
with
good.
X, where Jigsaw was imagining his first thing, and then
Oh, the vacuum.
Oh yeah.
I was like, ugh.
That was good.
And the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but the rack was my favorite, worst one that I.
it was
yeah.
so good. No, I and like the part that gets, so keeping in mind, of course, that I Saw 3 way before I was a parent. Okay. And my child now is 6. But like now, like when I rewatched it before, because I rewatched all of them before I went and saw X. That stuffed animal scene broke me this time.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't
Oh.
revisited it since I've been a parent. And so revisiting it,
No.
like that part, I'm telling you, it broke me in a way that I was not prepared for a Saw movie to break me. But I love 3. 3 is my favorite. That is my hill I will die on, or whatever. I loved it. So it's my number one. For all of those reasons and many, many more.
We kind of moved away from it, but I also just want to point out, because we talked about Jeff and Lynn and how they treat the daughter, and I just want to point out, here's my Easter egg fact of the day. The daughter's name is Corbett Denlin, and it just drives me crazy. The family has like super normal. It's like Jeff, Lynn, Dylan, Corbett. And it's like
Corbett?
I gotta be honest, didn't even realize that the daughter had a name. So you
What are people gonna say about her?
And that was the girl Hoffman saved.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, saved.
saved. Quote,
Good. Bully her.
They never left their daughter, did they?
no, not from the first day. The son was clearly the favorite.
Yes.
Clearly. What's her name? Corbett?
But
Yeah,
like
put
that
that on there.
part when he goes in and
brutal.
she's got the lovey, I'm like, if you don't let that little girl hold that in lovey, I was like, she's grieving too, and you guys are not even present for her. But you know what? Statistically, that is what happens to families who lose a child. That is what happened. They very rarely stay together. They very rarely raise their other child in a healthy environment. It's very difficult. I can't imagine, but it's very, and that's why I'm saying, like, this felt like a real thing. Like there was just something about this that felt real to me. It has some of my favorite traps. I love 3. We're winding down. We're coming up on almost 2 hours. So let's do a quick roundabout of let's do favorite trap. Want to start with the Saw hater radar? You want to start?
I don't hate Saw. I really like Saw.
I'm just teasing.
I-
You want to start us
The
off with your
Hatchet
favorite
fan.
trap? That's right.
Hatchet for life. um, I'm sure if we could, everyone would say the rack because that's clearly one of the highlights.
That's good.
One of them. She doesn't like it.
There's
I love it and hate it.
love and hate it, but there's another trap in Saw 3 that no one's mentioned, and that's the Blood Eagle thing.
Oh,
Baller of just her getting her ribs ripped
I thought you were
apart.
going to talk about the ice one. Ugh, I hated that one.
Oh, well, the
This
ice one's cool too.
Head?
Yeah, the ice.
See,
the
But
ice
that's
one.
why
One.
Yes, where
So-
she keeps getting the water. That bitch
Yeah.
kept driving. She can freeze to death, man. Like I
Oh.
don't care.
That one made
See,
me
the
uncomfortable.
thing is, that's why I don't like Jeff, though, is because he's so indecisive. Because he's like, you can freeze. And then after like 3 minutes, he goes, I mean, I guess.
Well,
I should
he's
save
listening
you."
to her like scream. He's still a human being, Radar.
Well, yeah. But then he
Well,
takes
yeah.
forever. He's like, he sees the key and he goes,
Oh, in the
I don't
The
want
pig-
to touch it. It's so
The
weird.
pigs is my least favorite. I'm not a squeamish person. I
Yeah.
don't think
Ooh, those
I'm, and I
pigs.
watch these movies all the time. I went vegetarian for a little while though because this was
Yeah.
the first one I was allowed to see in theater, like little 12-year-old cat. And those pigs, man, messed me up.
they were messed with
Those-
you.
Those pigs,
The judge.
Right.
Yeah.
because
And
they're
he
like
lived. And died.
rotten pigs.
Well,
yeah.
he lived
They're
for
like
a little
rotten
bit.
pigs too.
They
Yeah.
were. They had like
You
those
get to see the
speckles.
worms, the little maggots,
Oh.
and I just like, oh.
I can handle all of that. It's the bone for me. I can't.
What I-
Gross, man.
I don't like this sort of like organ stuff, like specifically playing with organs. That's why the one that I actually kind of gagged at was the one in the one in Seven, where he walked into the room and somebody had a hook going down there, and the needles that were going to go out of her throat if they didn't get the
Yeah.
hook out in time,
Oh, and she couldn't scream.
and she couldn't scream.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Just
Pulling
like
it
pulling that out.
That was
Shut
good. That was good though. That was the
Yeah.
ooh,
For my
yeah,
sake, shut up. And
But that
yeah.
It's horrible. I get it.
But the Blood Eagle one is your favorite
Yeah.
of the whole franchise?
Well, besides the rack, but like
The
the
rack.
Blood Eagle one is so cool because, as you stated before, none of the other traps are bloody, really.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very mild.
Not
yeah.
at all. Very mild.
Yeah.
This one ramps it up. It lets you know what's going to happen in Saw 3. Jeff might be dumb, but I like how they ramp it up in Saw 3. And it's such a brutal kill too. And I was I remember seeing it at a young age and going like, "Ooh, buddy, I like
Yeah,
Saw."
isn't that the first trap we see where they can't get out of it? That's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
first one
because
that's
she
like,
gets the key and then
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't, nothing happens. Like she can't get out of it. And then it's just
Some
like
of the traps
and
I
she-
feel like you're doomed, regardless.
Some of them are
Yeah.
some of them are inescapable.
Right, and that's probably have Hoffman's name written all over it because,
yeah.
according to Strom, who steals all the FBI files, he's been in every single one since the beginning. So I feel like some of it was definitely, all of it was Jigsaw, but there was a little Hoffman touch here and there.
yeah.
And she was that was Carrie that died, and we haven't talked about her much because she leaves the franchise really early, but she was
Yeah.
one of our first like returning characters in the she
Yeah,
was
she
in
was
one,
2 and
she was
3.
in 2,
Good one.
and I really
Yeah.
liked her. So I'm not open because she's not like the first kill, but she's one of the very early kills in that film where
Yeah.
we're just like we're getting rid of like this
getting rid of
important person.
She was,
Loose
she
ends.
And that, I was still
Oh.
pretty young when that movie came out. And I feel like this is so fucking weird to say about Saw, but it taught me a life lesson that life's not fair sometimes, and you can't get out of everything. That's really weird coming from that trap, but that's what it taught me.
What it taught
Um,
me is that I would rather just like meditate softly than stick my hand in acid if I'm gonna die anyway.
Yeah,
I learned how to
not-
give
can you
up watching
imagine
Saw 3.
getting to the point of being like, I literally just did that for no. I mean, granted, she didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of time to think that way, but like, yeah, didn't know like you did all that for nothing. Kat, what's your favorite? I think I already know because we already talked about it. But what's your favorite trap?
Yeah, we talked about this, and we talked about some of my runners up. Like there are just so many fantastic ones. I really love Needle Trap and Razor Wire. They stick with me a lot. I think the editing's great. But my
Yeah.
favorite, just I think for the symbolism and for the characters moments that we have with it, I love the Reverse Bear Trap.
Yeah,
I love getting to see Amanda survive it. I love the
Yeah.
very chaotic way that Hoffman gets out of surviving it. And I love that we get to see, it's my first favorite Easter egg, I think, of the entire franchise, where when we're introduced to John Kramer in
He's
the
drawing
flashback
it.
and he's drawing
he's
the
drawing it in
reverse
the
bear trap
hospital.
in the hospital bed, chef's
Oh,
kiss.
So
Aw.
good. Yes. Yes. So
But-
good. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Lexi, Kaylee, what's y'all's favorite traps?
I'll let you go first. Just go based off memory, please.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to look it up. I like the reverse bear trap. I really do. And
Yeah.
Well, I think the best way of getting out of it was Hoffman's way. He stuck his face in those bars.
That was hilarious. I was so angry.
and I like the rack. Because it was one of the first really brutal ones. And I'm trying to think of them, and now all my brain go.
Oh, and then the hook one you said you liked.
The hook. I really liked the hook one where you had to climb up.
He had to
And that
do what he said he had already done.
What made my heart drop on that scene though is when he fell, and then his poor wife burns to death.
yeah, the hook one.
Yeah.
All the hook ones are great. I liked the one where he had to freaking put it to his chest and then it ripped, which just proves that his pecs are not peck enough. And then
Got him.
when, he said it was. He said they were. He is a liar. And
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
I think he said that.
Yeah. Oh god.
And,
Yeah.
and then I think my favorite-ish, least favorite-ish, the one that she's the same way she feels about the rack, I feel about this one, the one where she had
Had to pull the.
the stuff.
The fish hook. Yeah.
I
That
don't
one
like-
was hard to watch. You're just like, ugh.
Horrible. Like I was cringing at that. I was shaking. That's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like all of the traps are just so fucking badass. All of
There
them.
are a lot of really good ones. It is hard to choose. That's why Kat has so many runner-ups.
I feel for me,
Uh-huh.
anything that tortured the really bad guys, like rapists, child molester, like
That was
I'm ready
Oh,
and
yeah,
ready.
the eyeball one with the that one.
Oh yeah.
The fat
That's
guy.
probably the most brutal one.
The fat guy in the hotel room. I was all for it.
I was cheering. I know, me too. I was the same way. I was like, good.
Yeah.
I was like clapping. I was like, woo!
My favorite worst one would be the rack. I mean, although I cringed and I almost passed out a few times, I was like, but you can't
So
get it.
good.
I mean, you killed my kid. I want to see you twist and
Yeah, all the way around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like a
I'm
little,
gonna have to take this video down. If anything ever happens, the government's gonna find this and be like, Angel said.
Uh-oh. Angel was for it.
You said this in front of us.
you're,
Yeah.
So 18. I'm so.
no, I like I said, I think all of them were great. I just felt like the ones that I cheered for most was the ones where that was really like I don't care you did fraud on an insurance thing.
Yeah.
I
I
care that you're gender.
That's a Scooby-Doo crime.
Like but if you're a rapist, child molester, or child killer, like my favorite kill was the backwards gun because that bitch number one. Besides
I
the
was
child,
very glad that she had her what is it, comeuppance. Yeah.
Yeah, her comeuppance.
she deserved it. I liked her at first because she was really trying to help the team and she
We
was
didn't
trying to keep
know.
everyone together. She was
Yeah,
the
we
sweet
didn't know.
one. And then when I find out what she did to her husband, I would never do that to my loved one. First of all, if you make an honest mistake, you make an honest mistake. But then it throws back to she put and smothered the baby with a pillow and then set her husband up while he's asleep. And I was like, this son of a bitch.
I know. I had
I
the
was
same.
like, you better die. You best die, bitch. And then the shotgun, bang. And I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Nice.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, I was like, I was happy with that. I think that's the only ones that I can remember and think of, but all of them are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
chop off the black girl chopped off her arm and
She was
she ended up weighing the most.
badass though, because I'm telling you, I would not survive. Y'all ever see the people who are like, oh, which trap would you? None of them. Literally none of them. I have zero survival instincts. None. I'm not taking any part of this off.
I would fall asleep.
But the guy kept, because he was fatter. I was like, he's gonna win. He has a lot of flesh and fat that he can cut off. And then she said, stop. And then the way and the angle of the arm.
It was exactly what she needed to win. Yeah, that was crazy.
Often giving the game away too.
Like,
oh yeah, he was like, you don't feel like you. What is it? He says. He asks,
"Are you grateful?"
Aren't you? Yeah, he's like, aren't you glad this happened to you? And she's like, do I look fucking grateful?
Like,
my name is not Amanda.
Didn't she say one of the things she said at the group meeting was the best thing that I got out of that experience was the handicap spot at the mall.
Oh, yeah, pretty brutal.
I forgot about that. Good shout. Yeah. She did.
I love that part.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, so my favorite is the rack, but I'll mention a couple others that we haven't touched on. I know that the fake survivor's wife didn't deserve her fate, but when the floor in that thing dropped the first time I ever watched it and it went whoosh over her, I was like,
yeah. Kaylee was appalled. She was
I was less appalled at the actual thing of her burning, and I felt so bad for her. She did not deserve it.
And I do too, but I think as far as traps go, it's pretty cool. Like, because I didn't understand, and maybe it's just me, I didn't understand what she was connected to. Like, you could just see the floor. So when it dropped that last time though, and those things came over her, I was like, oh no, like I felt so many things in that moment because I did.
That was like a flashback for her too, when the guy burned in the furnace.
Compared to a lot of the class, though, at least she got a pretty tame one.
Yeah.
Well,
that's another one that I really, really like. And then another one that I really, really liked is the usage of the collar that Amanda made for 3, because of it's this very weird like visual representation of this constant threat. It's like this just very like, it's not the same as some of the other things. Like with the reverse bear trap, it's a limited time. It's very like, it's quick when it happens. But for her to be in the entire movie doing all of these things with that thing just around her neck, like that was so menacing to me. And I thought it was just really smart to incorporate something like that we as the viewers are just constantly staring at when she's on screen. So I really liked that one. But yeah, the rack is my favorite. I'm here for a child killer vengeance story. Like that's my favorite one. I just thought it was one of the most brutal. So good.
Yeah, and like every bone scene gave me chill. I about passed out in all of them.
Tasha's the same way. I forget what movie it was we were talking about one time, and she's like, I can't stand that shit. I can't remember what movie it was though, but she's the same way. She's those bone.
There's a film that JR and I had went over on What's Your Story, a film he picked called Z. Don't watch it. But anyway, watch the movie.
First of all, I love Z.
What? No,
I love that movie. I also like its sibling movie, Come Play. And I would even go as far as to say a great 3 movie watch, whatever that would be called, not a double feature, a triple feature, would be Boogeyman. They're all the same fucking movie. They're all the same movie. They all got the same thing going on, but I love imaginary friend stories.
It was very disturbing, and it looked like Gollum. But
Right.
So
Right.
like, see,
When he showed up in the bathtub, Lexi, I was like, oh, don't like that. I don't like that. I don't
but
like
you
that.
remember the part where the mothers are talking woman to woman in the kitchen, and all of a sudden,
That little boy.
so like and then I heard every bone crunch, and I was like, because it was a quiet.
I love
They're
Z.
talking, and all of a sudden, bang, the kid just drops, and I was like, it was like a jump scare. You didn't expect it at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I was like, and you heard
Yeah.
every bone crunch, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Halloween Ends borrowed that. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Oh
nope.
yeah.
Bones. Ugh. And then when
So
Strong, when he's getting smacked in between two walls and his
Mm.
I was like,
Oh, that was a good one too, though. Oh,
Yeah.
I liked the idea of like getting in the box. Like you obviously need to get in the box, but they still don't get in the box. And you should have done the box.
Hoffman's just like,
right, yo, man. But Hoffman showed up at perfect times, man. That's why I liked Hoffman, because he was so strong. Especially the voice analysis scene. Oh my god! And I was like,
good.
but we
So
killed
suspenseful.
Perez way too soon.
I liked Perez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perez was cool. I was sad that they brought her back just to kill her again. I was like, come on, man. Y'all could have gave her
I
some
never-
more lines or something. I don't know.
I never realized how many traps there were that Hoffman's involved with that would
Yeah.
just look like he would just be in a really awkward situation if they just slightly went different. Like the one in 4, he'd go like, I guess
Can I
I'll
get in the box
go into
with you?
hiding
Or
now.
Can I get in the box with you?
Yeah, yeah. Like, what was he gonna do in the 5th one? Like,
There's some room.
With Riggs, like if he went home, he's like, oh,
Well, now what do we
Oops.
do?
Even the scene with Jill, the bear trap again. Like
yeah.
Hoffman's a scary guy. Like he's very menacing, and
think
for
he is,
him
too.
to just like take everyone in fucking sight down, just to get and the way he got into the police department, he gets into the body bag, fucking epic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then he's like bang, bangs, or no, not even bang. He's stabbing. He's fucking shivving everybody in the goddamn neck
Yeah.
and shit.
He just like loses his mind. He just goes on like a rampage. Yeah, it was weird.
I
Yeah,
thought it was hilarious that like Jill
I was
acts
scared of Hoffman at that scene.
Jill acts mysterious like all of the movies until she's literally about to die.
Yeah, she was wishy-washy with me. I was like,
I
Are you
could I literally could not give a fuck less about that character. By far, the least significant character. I get that she's supposed to be like the reason or like part of the who gives a shit? I don't care. After we got past the baby stuff, I was like, can we move on? No, we're not moving on. Okay, got it. I don't care.
well, this is part of Paul's motivation, so I see why. But it was more
Yeah,
about
and I get that. But did she need to be in any more movies? No. Like she
No.
really didn't. Like it wasn't necessary, but it was, it is what it is.
Not necessary.
Yeah. And like she was like game over, and her game only lasted 2.5 seconds.
Like you don't get to say that, bitch. Like
Right.
no.
Yeah.
She's a little
Her game lasted 2.5 seconds. He fucking smashed his face into the
And
bars.
you didn't even do what you were supposed to do. You felt
Yeah.
so good about that you said one of the most iconic lines in the franchise, and you still
Right.
didn't. Stop it.
Yeah.
You got what you got. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not care for that character at all. She
It was a
drove me
snitch,
nuts.
was 6'9".
I hate her. Well,
But
anyway, I'm gonna wrap us up. We're at the 2-hour mark. Thank you guys so much for
Fair.
coming on and talking Saw. I feel like this probably could have kept going, but I'm gonna wrap us up.
Yeah.
No,
No, this is fair. That's fair.
like I said, and other things.
Yeah.
I'm
links
always
to
happy
find-
to come on and talk about Hatchet anytime.
Ray
I'm always
should
happy
not
to come
invited back for anything anymore
Oh,
if he
no.
can't agree with me. I'm just kidding. No.
I'm always happy to come on and talk about Saw. I will
Yeah,
only-
this
you
is
can invite
Kat's
me for
return.
anything, but I'll be talking about Saw.
This is
I'll be
Kat's
talking about
return
Saw.
for a Saw chat because we did our traps conversation right before X came out and kind of did a little bit of a dive into some of the movies back then too. So this is her repeat offense on the Saw conversations on voices. But links to find everybody are in the description for this episode. Thank everybody in the chat that was with us. I'm sure everybody's in bed or doing other things now, but thanks for everybody that stopped by and came out. It's always cool to see repeat friends stop by. It always means a lot.
Thank you for having Kaylee on as a new
And
guest.
Kaylee, yeah, this was so fun. I'm glad that you liked the franchise, and I'm glad you were able to come on and talk to us. It's always good to hear other people.
I love that.
But all right, well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this episode of our Franchise Lives. I do not know which one we're doing next. I don't remember which one is next. I don't know. I think maybe Final Destination. I feel like there's one before that, but it might be Final Destination. But either way, we'll be back with some more for the summer. So thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, a good week coming up, and we will see you in the next one.